speed with which rebels took control of the country has stunned Western capitals, but it's also raised concerns about further regional instability. While they've hailed the end of the Assad regime, European leaders also view his sudden toppling as fraught with danger, anxious to avoid fresh turmoil that could send migrants and jihadists once again to the continent. Several countries, including France, Germany, Italy and Sweden, are suspending all Syrian asylum applications because of the unclear situation in their homeland, while Austria says it's also preparing to deport refugees.
It is important to first establish facts, to put asylum and family reunion procedures on hold. We need to wait until the dust settles so we can see what is happening, what the next points are, where can we dock. The situation on the ground is still very convoluted, very complex. That is nothing new, unfortunately, when it comes to Syria.
With more on The View from Brussels, let's cross live now to our correspondent. Dave Keating is standing by for us. Dave, throughout the course of today, we've seen statements coming in from various European capitals. A consensus does seem to be emerging. What is the latest?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every hour we're getting the announcement of a new country suspending these asylum applications. Here in Belgium, we just heard that they will also be suspending. Now, the reason given for this is the uncertainty in Syria. Essentially, they're saying we cannot determine at this moment whether Syria is a safe place to go or not. And of course, asylum claims would normally be granted on the basis of Syria being an unsafe place. But we have those comments from the Austrian interior minister to Austrian media going much further than that, saying that he has ordered that the ministry start preparing to deport Syrians who are there, Syrian refugees in Austria, back to Syria. He didn't really give a lot of detail about that or who among the 100,000 Syrian refugees in Austria he would be referring to, which category of refugee. But it's clear from the speed at which this has been moving that these countries have wanted to freeze these applications for some time. And indeed, even before the fall of the Assad regime, countries were talking about suspending the acceptance of asylum claims from Syrian asylum seekers on the basis of it being safe and stable under the Assad regime. Basically, that the Assad regime, that the conflict had remained frozen and Syria was no longer unsafe. So now it's quite strange that they're actually now suspending those applications on the opposite justification. So it's a very unclear situation right now. What's the strangest about this is that HTS, which has led the rebel overthrowing of the government, is designated as a terrorist organization by both the United States and the United Kingdom. But the United Kingdom is also one of the countries that has frozen the processing of the asylum claims, saying that essentially that Syria may now be a safe country, that they can't return that the asylum seekers don't need to get away from, which is a strange position to take at the same time that the government is still designating this group that's taken over the government as a terrorist organization. So a lot of lack of clarity here right now, and a lot of people are asking, what is the long-term sustainability of these policies?
And Dave, as you say, European leaders saying asylum applications will be suspended until the situation in Syria becomes clearer, but that could take some time. So where does all of this leave those asylum seekers?
Exactly. That's what a lot of, particularly the rights organizations that represent refugees, are questioning here. It's very clearly will not be apparent whether Syria is a safe place or not anytime soon. That could take many, many months. But under international law, these countries are obliged to deal with these asylum claims within 6 months. So if this pause went on longer than 6 months, that would be a problem. And that time period could come even sooner for some of these applications that were made, let's say, 3 months ago, but haven't been processed yet. So it's very unclear right now how the assessment would be made, whether Syria is a safe place for refugees either to return to or to stay at, and also when that determination could be made. And that could be very, very critical, a very critical question when it comes to the requirements under international law.
Dave, we leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us with all the latest from Brussels. Separately, the UN